Ladies and gentlemen, here's the motherfucking tea.
And now, we are live. I had to play the tea thing. People need to watch the tea thing. I made it, and people need to watch it. And they watched it. Now everyone can hear us.
Woo.
For the final episode of My Hero Reviews for Season 4. We might do one for Season 5. Who knows? Maybe we'll all be dead. It's possible.
That is very plausible.
Real quick, before we get too far into this, do you want us to record a local recording of this?
You know what? For just in case things go poorly, let us record. All right, I am recording.
I am also recording.
So am I.
When I ask.
Okay, then on 3, clap. 1, 2. Cool. Awesome.
Hey.
Hey, everybody. It's time for the final episode of My Hero Academia review for Season 4. We might do one for Season 5. Who knows? But in case we don't, hey, this was a pretty damn good episode to end the series on, right?
It is officially my favorite season finale the show has had yet, I think.
It is high up there, right?
And not a traditional kind of season finale for this kind of show.
And I think that's why I liked it. Like, it really, I feel like everything else kind of did more of like a setup for a next arc kind of thing. Or like, I feel like they always kind of hinted at something. This just felt like a real finale to, I feel like, the theme of a lot of the season, which is just like the general populace falling into despair ever since All Might. And this is like the first, like, oh shit, maybe things will be okay. And it felt real good.
I gotta tell you, when I read this part, I was freaking the fuck out. Like, I legitimately was wondering how Endeavor was, like, if he was going to live throughout all of this. Because it's such a big, dramatic fight that kind of comes out of nowhere. And and let me tell you, in the manga, it was real good. In the anime, holy shitballs.
Some of the best animation I think we've had this season, or at least some of the coolest looking stuff for me.
Can we, I don't even know where to begin. There are just some brilliant shots, but I think maybe one of the best in the entirety of it is the shot where Hawks is knocked down, rolls back up onto his feet, and is running backwards. Meanwhile, all of his feathers are picking up debris while Endeavor, flies next to him.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
That was a real good shot.
Jesus. I just sitting back and watching that. Oh, somebody in the chat, we got Beyblade Endeavor. Yeah, you know what? That was actually a little weird for me. I feel like that was them getting really stylistic with it, which I love when artists and animators do that. But there was a part of me that was just like, okay, all right. That looked a little odd, but it was also cool.
This showed off not just how good Endeavor is, but how good Hawks is, and how very connection is bad right now.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. But Hawks is very calm, knowing his limitations and being like, okay, I can't save everybody, so I'm going to save these people who need help the most right now.
Yeah. And that's, hey, you know what? In that moment, he made a calculated decision that luckily led to nobody dying. And also, what a cool fucking power.
Yeah, the amount of mind, brain power that would take to operate seems unfathomable. But just him being able to mentally control all those feathers is insane.
Yeah. And you can really tell that as he's grown up into this hero, he's really put in the time and the effort. And yet he's so blasé about it. And I think that's actually kind of part of his whole MO is that, yeah, no, he's incredibly good, but he doesn't want to show act like he's putting in a lot of effort. I think it's kind of like a show, it feels like.
And him having to be that, I guess, lends to that he's kind of like Shikamaru.
Yeah.
Take.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty accurate, honestly. I never even thought about Shikamaru until you guys said, hey, He's kind of like Shikamaru. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, you're right.
I believe that was Grant's comparison.
Yeah.
It's my favorite Naruto character, so when I see anything that even slightly reminds me of him, I'm like, oh man, hey, it's that dude.
I mean, he's your favorite Naruto character because he's the best Naruto character. Fuck you all, fight me. Because, yeah, he is.
I think Rock Lee can fight for that title.
I think Rock Lee is fantastic. I love Rock Lee. But Shikamaru is kind of like all that in a bag of chips. Also, like, he's so good that Tamari bagging him was like, way to go, girl, you fucking did it. And I love Tamari. Tamari is like my favorite female character from Naruto. So it's like my favorite female character and my favorite male character just got together. I'm like, I don't ship, but I love it.
He's the cat.
Hey man,
husband.
They're both catches. But yeah, so this episode, it's hard to even like know where to begin in terms of, because it's all just one giant fight. It's one giant fight against the Nomu, and it gets brutal. It gets really brutal. The show isn't, especially after the last arc, a stranger to getting violent and really sending home the pain, but damn, dude.
Grant, how did you react to how violent things got?
It got really intense. I was pretty surprised with how, like, when Endeavor just gets blasted in the face, basically. I was pretty shocked at how that worked out. I knew because of the movie that he would end up pretty scarred up at some point. I wasn't sure if this was where it was going to happen. But man, and just the amount of beating they put that guy through. I understand that he has a checkered past, let's say. But man, they kind of relished in punishing him in this episode.
I think okay.
Yeah, that thing where his lip is caught in damage.
Yeah.
In that one like gore shot is pretty. Yeah.
You know, it's sort of funny because when you compare it to the manga, that shot where he gets hit in the eye, yeah, that's 1-for-1, baby. Like some people, you know, we're kind of bitching about the last episode and how it looked in comparison to the manga. This looked dead on. And I mean, the detail and the violence and oh my god, it's an incredible shot. It really hits you hard. And also, the movie like spoils that scar on his eye.
Yeah.
Which I won't lie, I'm like, damn. Like, and that's why I was keeping my mouth shut. I'm like, hey, did anybody else notice anything weird with Endeavor? What? No. Okay, good. I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna pull attention to it then.
I feel like they don't really dwell on it.
Unfortunately, it did spoil for Grant. But I imagine very much a question throughout this if you hadn't seen the movie, Grant.
Yeah, like it was context for it, really. Like I knew he would be scarred, but just like with how this fight kind of came out of nowhere, I sort of figured it was going to be like a nothing thing. So when it happened here, I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, and it's one hell of a hit. And so, but let's drop the fight because there's something else that surrounds the fight that's also very important. The opening actually starts with Endeavor's ex-wife, or ex-wife? Wife? Todoroki's mom.
Yeah.
Starts with Todoroki's mom and his brother and sister going, and his brother and sister are actually going to visit her. Of course, Todoroki is at school. He's doing, school things. And they're talking to her, and, the sister's trying to be nice and catch up, and the brother kind of cuts to the chase and flat out says, by the way, he's #1 now. And of course the sister doesn't like, hey, yo, don't bring that up. You don't have to bring up dad. And he's
don't
like, no.
He who will not be named.
And he's like, no, she needs to know. She needs to know that asshole is actually really popular and doing really well. And, if people understood or knew what he did to us, he'd never be so popular. Which, yeah, that's, we talked a little bit about this before, but in Japan, you do not let that stuff come out. It's especially for a famous family like theirs, it's something you don't want to come out because you're worried about how it will hound and affect your family. And so, and then Todoroki's mother, she kind of surprises everybody by saying, hey, do you know what these are? These are my favorite type of flower. And the only person I ever told, one of the only people I ever told that to was your father. Once. Briefly when we were first dating. And in that moment...
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about that sequence.
No, as you should. I don't think you're not supposed to have mixed feelings about what is happening. Because, in that moment, she's saying, hey, he actually remembered that. He came by and he has actively avoided trying to see me. But he's brought flowers and he's shown up and he's trying to do better. Which I found interesting because, at the end of the day, he doesn't deserve redemption. He doesn't deserve it. But it's interesting to watch him make the effort. That's the thing that's so curious about it. He has recognized that he has made a mistake, and he's making the effort to try and get better. And that's what's interesting about it. He's not good, but he's trying to show some kind of recognition. And the only thing that kind of bothers me is that, the mother's response to it seems a little bit too saccharine. But
yeah, I think that's what was bugging me. Is just her reaction was a little too praising of him. I feel like she should have a bit more complicated feelings about it.
Yeah, I mean, she of all people would have the most complicated feelings besides her children who, and to be honest, people who suffer from abuse often have to cope by not holding on to that anger.
Yeah.
One of the things is moving on. For her family, it actually makes more sense that their response is more, pissed and angry and frustrated. The sister's trying to be as healthy as she can about it, but you can tell that the brother is not having it. And I found that very fascinating because that's pretty accurate.
And I think you could tell she's the older sister, not just because of her character design, but because she's trying to be the peacemaker.
Yes.
And that is very much older sibling stuff.
Yeah. And so during that scene, they introduce that, wow, Endeavor really is recognizing the mistakes that he's made, and he's taking steps to try and improve it. Now, there's a lot of different ways that he could be going about that. But, and some people might say maybe he should step down or not put himself out in the front of the public. But weirdly enough, oddly enough, terribly enough, to remove himself from that position would actually only put more people in danger. It seems like the only route that he has now is to try and be better to his family, acknowledge that he's been bad, and continue to be the hero that people need. And that's what makes it such a fascinating idea. The idea of Endeavor, a character known for abusing his family, is trying to be a better person, and you want and you're left to make the decision of whether or not to root for him or not accept it. And that's it.
And I will say, without spoiling anything, they cover it more a bit later.
Yeah.
And I think it's handled really well in that next bit, which I was hoping we would get in this episode, but it became very clear that, okay, no, that's not.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot wait for the next season because that stuff is great. But as it is right now, he's out there and he's fighting a Nomu that can talk, that hyper regenerates, and is there to fight the strongest person, which is very interesting.
I loved the sneak in there with this thing being just obsessed with fighting who was strongest. I didn't piece together the quite the metaphor going on until it was stated, and I felt really stupid.
And that's why. But it's a slow burn. Nothing? Okay, you know what? I fucking try with you people. So, honestly, the scene... So, a lot goes down. The fight's incredible. He takes hits. He tries his hardest over and over to kill this stupid fucking Nomu. And finally, what he ends up doing, and this is that holy shit moment. This is that holy shit moment where he's like, gotta clear myself away from people so I don't do too much damage. That's that moment where you're like, oh shit, he hasn't been trying his hardest.
Here it comes, yeah.
Turns out fire will hurt everybody.
Yep. And it's incredible. That shot where he's pulling him up into the sky, it's actually really beautiful. If you didn't catch it, go back and rewatch. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, my only nitpick was that like people were like staring, like looking directly at it, and like shouldn't they be like shielding their eyes? Shouldn't it be as bright as the sun?
Well, we don't know if it's as bright as the sun, but
It looks bright as the sun in the art.
Is this when he starts talking about how he's overheating himself and that's why he needed specifically the ice power to be in his kid?
Yeah, that he says it once and then he brings it up again and then is like, yeah, that's why he wanted his kid to have nice power so he could use even more firepower without getting over.
Which, man, when you think about, like, and again, he's a piece of shit. He's a real piece of work. He only got with his wife because she was an ice user, and then abandoned his children when they didn't have ice and fire powers. What a garbage human being.
Yeah, and he was just like, oh, well, this is my biggest weakness, so I need to breed someone without that weakness.
And on top of how cruel that is, because like the idea of it is like, I intend for you to burn your body so bad using this power I'm giving you that you're going to need this ice to cool you down. Like, jeez.
He eugenics himself a successor. But yeah, so he takes this motherfucker up into the sky. And yeah, you're right. The scene where he looks the Nomu in the eye and says, you are me. You are my past self or a version of me from another time where I didn't recognize that I was a piece of shit. Which I feel is a little on the nose, but also, hey, like what an acknowledgement. You were becoming an actual monster.
Yeah, and I will note on the part of that Nomu, kind of remembered whoever it might have been originally because he was saying my new powers and stuff.
Oh yeah, huh?
Little thing, but like, does that person like have full sentience in that Nomu form?
Was this a person who like willingly subjected them to this to be like in the pursuit of power?
That's a good question.
Yeah, we're still not fully clear on like what's going on. We know that people are involved in making them.
Yeah. But let's see. So yeah, but he takes it up into the fucking atmosphere and Prominence burns the living shit out of that fucking Nomu. And it's a glorious sequence. It's really good.
Also, throughout this, I love that we are getting kind of cutbacks to not just like the general audience, but we cut back to UA and we see the Class 1A watching this, specifically Todoroki, and like seeing his reactions to stuff. And that was so good because it like I feel like it never like hung on it or dwelled on it or like really let the characters talk that much. It was just kind of like you got to see facial expressions and like body posture and just like the progressive like everyone losing hope to kind of the like the stunned held breath after the Prominence burn. Just really good stuff.
And just like I love that you get the impression of how complicated their feelings are when you see all the kids. Like, they don't want to see the guy die, but like him that much, but they don't really know how to feel.
Well, yeah, because they know, a lot of these kids know he's a piece of shit. But they also know that if he didn't... Oh, okay. Some of the kids know he's a piece of shit. Midoriya, at least, knows that he's a piece of shit. And throughout all of this, Shoto's looking on, and he doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to feel. But you can tell that he doesn't want his dad to die. Desperately wants his dad to live. Not just because he's his father, but because he knows what he means to the world. He can't die there. And, man... Also, the fucking kid comes back! The one who wanted the autograph!
That was real good.
Oh,
yeah.
That is...
Because, the reporter starts talking doom and gloom. And
that reminded me so heavily of classic comic book movies. Like, where like a random citizen just comes in and says something like, no, he has to. It felt classic comic book. Just this one kid like, no, he's gonna do it because he's the best, and you can't doubt that.
How can you be so sad? Can't you see he's fighting for all of us? Like, just we gotta rally around our one hero. We gotta give him our hope.
Yeah.
Kind of moment.
And it's real good. It's a real good moment. But yeah, that moment where he gets the scar on his eye, and his it's such a good moment because it's nothing but the music. Everything else goes quiet. That fucking pedal falls. Like, just great framing, and the look on Shoto's face, the fire that keeps flickering from him. It's good shit. It's really good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel like the pedal so a anime only thing.
You know what? I'm actually not sure if the pedal was anime only. I'd have to go check. Also, music, just great throughout the entire thing. Real good.
Yeah, good use of soundtrack. I also really liked Hawks when he was kind of like once again showing how perceptive he is. He was like, man, when All Might was around, you were the only one who was really trying to pass him. The rest of us kind of just looked on and worshipped. You were the only one who was like, no, I can top it. And I want you to show everyone how much that means and why that matters.
Yeah.
And that was like so good.
I think this is kind of establishes that Hawks is a good guy in this. Like, yeah. Which makes the timing of the Nomu still very interesting though. And I'm wondering if we'll get an explanation of that next arc. But yeah, what a phenomenal fucking fight, and a great, and oh god, the look of Shoto after the fight's over and his dad gets back up is perfect.
It's almost like he's having a panic attack.
Yes, he's hunched over, hands on his head, and it's like, nope, that's it. That's how you feel after, like, when you're like, oh my god, I thought he was gonna die. Oh god. And you can tell, like, he's not only just dealing with the fear and the relief, but also all of those feelings that he's like, oh god, I didn't know I could care about him. What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
And just like him standing there with his fist in the air, and I love the way they drew him, like, hunched over, like clearly burdened and in pain, but standing all the same. And it's like it's a very different but still very powerful, like, image, a lot like what All Might did, but like from the other side of, like, I'm not this god man who can't be touched, but I am the guy who's going to fight for you despite the pain.
Yeah.
And like really just a really powerful, like, cool message. And I think like really brings to a head all the stuff about like how society views heroes in this universe and why it needs to change, kind of stuff.
Oh, someone mentioning Deadzawa. Aizawa being there for good old Shoto. He comes in and is like, oh, so you've seen. And he's trying to be there, and I'm like, oh my god. I love Aizawa so much.
Yeah, he immediately does
repeat that real quick.
I'm gonna break up if I do. He just immediately, when he sees it, seems to run to him to see.
Yeah. He immediately is like, oh shit, he's going to need help right now. And that's so important. And it's, hey, he's a good teacher and a good adult. And yeah, it's a beautiful episode, an amazing episode, a fantastic episode to wrap up the season on. Because, hey, Grant, you made a great point. I didn't even think about the fact that, yeah, this whole episode is kind of caps off the big message, the idea, the underlying theme about heroes, what they represent, and how they can save society, not just through protecting people, but giving them hope. Yeah, no, I didn't even think about that. It's a perfect place to end with that.
Because yeah, like,
it also just ends with a tone of sort of like just shit just got.
Yeah, like really real.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like I hadn't really thought about how the society looked at heroes as just this this perfect and untouchable standard when All Might showed up. He's like this golden boy that everyone aspires to be, but no one can really match. And so it like, all I'm saying is maybe Stain had a couple points.
Well, it's sort of interesting because it's not that Stain didn't have a point. It's all good villains have a point. It's all about how they respond to it and how they act upon it that makes them a hero or a villain. And then there are just some villains that are like, no, I like watching people die. That's my thing. And it's not that you can't have a villain like that who's fun. You can. I love Dio.
Yeah, sure.
Dio's great. Dio's a fantastic villain. There isn't a single bit of like sympathy or empathy towards his character at all. I still love Dio, but really good villains make you like show you how they got where they got. But yeah, so, and yeah, by the end of it, he comes out on like our boy Endeavor comes out on top. Hawk shows off why he's number 2 and probably could have been number 1.
Which also during the thing when Hawks is talking about how he recognized what Endeavor was up to, also just like they also show that like Endeavor was his inspiration. Like he noticed Endeavor and that's what made him want to be a hero. And so just a good full circle thing of him kind of pushing Endeavor to where he needed to be in the last act.
Yeah. Good old Hawks. He's also, again, Hawks' design is just too good. Like, every time I see it, I'm like, Hawks, how are you, like, the coolest looking motherfucker in the show?
Does that warm on days like that?
I must be warm. God, like it's such a cool jacket, but I would not want to wear that. What is this, spring? I think that's spring.
Not to mention all the fire Endeavor's bringing to the party.
Oh, yeah. Or was it fall? No, was it a Summerfest? Shit, I can't even remember. It's early November. Okay, no, it's okay. Yeah, it's November. Okay, so at the very least, the coat might be seasonal. We don't know. We haven't seen another season with this coat. So, but yeah, I don't know what else to say. Fantastic episode, top to bottom. And
the post credits thing.
I was gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, the post credits thing is what the fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, if you read the manga, you know what the but.
Oh yeah, but I'm not going to say what the fuck.
But yeah. So Deku sleeping in his dreams sees some of the previous holders of One for All, going all the way back to, I'm guessing, the origin. And the guy's kind of like, oh, hey, you must be the new kid. What's up? It kind of like reaches a hand out, and then Deku wakes up, glass breaks near him. Clearly some sort of like power transfer or touching or something occurred, and things got a little bonkers.
Yeah, I too love to see the past avatars.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very meeting the old avatars moment.
Yeah. And that part was lifted directly from the manga. They cut it down a little bit, and we'll probably get an extended version next season. But yeah,
it's a really good season 5 like trailer.
It really is. Like, honestly, considering what's in season 5, it really was the perfect way to.
I'm going to guess that we're going to get a little bit more in depth back to good old Midoriya, learning more about his new powers.
Yes, if you felt like there was a little bit lacking, I don't know how you could feel like there was any lacking Midoriya, but next season's gonna get crazy. But
we developed some stuff, but not so much like the depths of his powers. He kind of just keeps learning how to manipulate it better.
Grace itself saying apparently Horikoshi has never seen Avatar. I don't believe that. Even if he said it, I'm not sure I believe that. Not when you have Todoroki and like those visuals. I don't know, man. I'm not 100% sure about that. But yeah, no, it's a great way to end the episode. And And a great way to end the season. This whole season has been definitely one that was a bit up and down for a lot of people. It feels like. I know that we had there were a lot of things that were exciting us early on, and we definitely had some issues with some of its delivery. But I still feel like there were a lot of great highs in this season.
There was a lot of good. This is the weakest season we've had as an overall pack.
You think it's the weakest season we've had as an overall package so far, huh?
Yep.
I think I would agree. It's not so much that the season was bad. This was definitely, I don't know, and I don't even know if it's entirely like just the season's fault. Like I do think that there were a lot of things that seemed maybe a little off or mishandled. But I also think this was kind of like the first time I felt sort of fatigue setting in. Like I feel like if I wasn't doing this show, I don't know if I would have kept up with this season week by week quite as much, and I would have probably let it build after a bit, because just some of the episodes just sort of felt like either not a lot happened or just did not feel satisfying. And I don't know, it's kind of how
it's a problem. The direction really stuff.
I also kind of have to, like, in terms of it being an adaptation, yeah, it has failures there, but I won't lie. There were a lot of people who take issue with the overhaul story. I'll just call it the overhaul arc, and there are some issues to take. It's not incredibly the stakes. How do I put this? I remember when I was originally reading it and I was not that excited. There were parts of it that got me excited, but generally I looked back on it as kind of a lackluster arc.
See, and I was someone who really enjoyed the overhaul arc in the manga, and I felt like it just wasn't working as well for me in the anime.
And, well, when I went back to it, I saw all those strengths in a newer light, to be fair. I remember when I was initially reading through it, I wasn't a huge fan. It wasn't until I came back that I actually started to feel stronger about it.
I but then the anime kind of disappointed.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. Like, they could have done a lot of great things, but at the end of the day, yeah, it's kind of an up and down. It's kind of a roller coaster.
And it's not an animation quality thing. It's a directing. The episodes just weren't hitting like they should.
Which definitely did not the second half of the season did not feel like that. It had that problem. It didn't feel phenomenal, but it still, like, it felt way stronger just generally.
It did.
But yeah, so I loved this season, though, to be fair. But part of the reason that I really loved this season is just I love the festival arc. I love Gentle. Gentle is one of my favorites, and them introducing Endeavor's new arc, for me, I always found that incredibly fascinating, because I've always been one of those I've always been one of those people who desperately doesn't want to see truly bad people forced into a redemption arc, because there are times where it's not earned, it's not valid, it's not good. This is a complicated one and a tough one, and that's why it has me fascinated. I want to see where it goes and how it develops.
It feels like Vegeta-esque, but from like a more distanced point of view. Like we're seeing this guy who clearly was just obsessed with being the best and being strong and destroying everything in his path to get to it, and now he's like kind of realizing, like, oh, maybe there are other important things. Maybe I'll never be able to attain that, godhood that I thought this guy had that I wanted so much. And like, you kind of just get to see that from the periphery, and like this has way more serious and personal implications to his character, so it makes it a lot harder to watch that growth and not feel weird about it.
Yeah,
but I think that's what makes it fascinating.
I mean, there are a couple of different facets that go into his character and his redemption. One of the major things that you have to pay attention to is the fact that, like, in this series, okay, so a lot of people when I've compared, say, the redemption of the diamonds in Steven Universe, I won't get too far into that for those of you who aren't familiar. I've complained about that, and then other people will turn around and say, well, you like Vegeta, and he got his redemption, to which my response was, Dragon Ball never ever cared about the humanistic qualities of its characters. It never took the time to actually deal with...
It only kind of takes his character seriously.
Yeah, it only kind of takes those matters seriously and has any kind of rumination on the nature of humanity and redemption. It doesn't care. That's not what Dragon Ball is about. Steven Universe is literally all about examining human psyche and the way that we respond to these things. It was important there. Also, yeah, Vegeta died multiple times before getting redeemed. That is also true.
But I think we're like, well, isn't like how other people react, but like important and sometimes the most important. This kind of.
I'm so sorry, Stefan. You kind of roboted through that entire.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay. I was saying that I think in the be it.
You were actually okay there. You just kind of roboted for a moment.
Okay. I think in this case it's a scenario where seeing how other characters react is almost more important than in other stories. So I think that's something where other people react to it.
Yes.
That's very true.
Yeah, his family's response, the world's response, very specifically Shoto's response. I think a lot of those really matter. Whereas with with Vegeta, he just basically shows up and is like, look, I'm here whether you fuckers like it or not, and I don't give a shit. Endeavor's... So the thing that leads to Endeavor really self-examining himself was twofold. Initially, the first bit that really caught him was when Shoto was like embracing both sides of himself, but then he looks at his father and says, hey, yo, fuck you. I'm doing this for me, not for you. And that's the first time where Endeavor's like, wait, hold on, no, that's not what I wanted. Why am I frustrated about this? And that's interesting. Because that shows that he had, I think very subconsciously, he still had this connection with his son. Like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to mold him into into that new great hero. But when he starts to actually lose a chance at a relationship with him, it starts to frustrate him and maybe even make him a little scared. And then when All Might falls, when he falls and when he loses his powers and he's thrust into the spot of number one, he realizes like, oh shit, I have all of these responsibilities, and yet the truth is I haven't earned them. Oh god. And it's really interesting. It's so fascinating. Like it's not. I won't say that Horikoshi's writing for it is always fantastic. I think it could do up until now. It could have done a little bit more to work and play with those ideas. But the fact that they're there.
I was gonna say I think what sets him apart, and from a lot of shonen writers, is that he always writes human being. And that's not always the case in shonen. In fact, that's rarely the case.
Yeah, I do feel like... So, it's kind of that interesting idea of... with shonen characters, a lot of them kind of play to archetypes and stereotypes and these ideas of what will sell well to kids. And yeah, I do feel like Horikoshi... Well, not always. So some characters Horikoshi writes are just, oh, fun, happy characters. But... he always imbues them with a certain amount of humanity, and some more than others. And it's so interesting to watch Endeavor crash against all the things that he wanted and realize that he's not the person he thought he was going to be. And that's, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Horikoshi writes human characters, which I will always go back to what Miyazaki said. When he said that the worst thing about modern anime is that the anime fans became the writers. Which is, you would think, oh, but they know all about anime. And it's like, yeah, but the people who made the old anime, who made a lot of the stuff that you grew up with, studied life, not entertainment.
Yeah.
And
I think Horikoshi goes by a writing rule that I believe in, which is that then you hone in on a character over time, and so that you always have that broad idea, and then you create depth over time, rather than trying to start with the most deep character ever and then losing that over time, inevitably.
Yeah. And well, that's kind of a great way to write shonen if you do it well, because then that means that, oh no, you are going to start this off with a character that is bright and colorful and engaging. And then as time goes on, you will find out what makes them tick, what makes them interesting. And that's a lot of shonen like to do that nowadays. Some better than others.
Yeah, about that writing method is that you can discover it over time. You don't have to know what it's going to be right off the bat, and it works just as well regardless.
And yeah, that's kind of good for shonen writers who have to write week to week and never get breaks.
Yeah.
Fucking Oda actually went out of his way and was like, nope, I'm taking a break once a month and you cannot stop me. And they're like, you make the hottest selling manga in Japan. Do that.
You're holding us hostage.
One of the most high graphic novels things ever.
Yes, One Piece has sold more graphic novels than any other, if I'm correct, and I think that I am, has sold more graphic novels in Japan, and I think worldwide, than any other. So
Than Batman and Superman.
Yeah. So you got and as much as I love One Piece, I wouldn't say that it's the best, but he's definitely fucking earned the right to be able to say, hey, no, I'm taking this week off to research.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, fucking Miura's like, hold on, Nekopata's DLC just came out, and I need to finish that before I get back to work. I love Miura, but 1989 was when Berserk started.
How long was he on the boat?
Oh my god, it wasn't even that the characters were on the boat for that long. It was just they were the boat. It was months in between.
And how long is Jing on the boat?
Oh my god, Jing will be on the boat. They'll be on that boat. They'll never get off that boat. I'm gonna be honest.
First it was Guts, then it was Jing.
Yeah.
Boats.
Yeah, they'll
Boats
never.
are the worst thing for.
You cannot put anime characters on a boat. You just cannot. But
It's
yeah.
always a pleasure cruise.
But I think that's it. I think that's I think we've said, unless you guys had anything else you wanted to add.
No.
Nothing
No.
to me.
All right. Well, ladies, gentlemen, all of you guys in between, thank you for joining us for another season of My Hero Academia Reviews. I love this show, and I'm really glad that I got to share it with you two, somebody who reads the manga and somebody who doesn't. It's a great, great way to get two perspectives, and I cannot wait for the next season. Again, prospectively, we'll do another one of these. As long as we all survive the coming year. 2020 is a fucking mess, you guys.
They announced another season. Earth has to keep going. That's just the rules.
Yep. The Earth has to keep spinning until Horikoshi ends the manga. Which, if you've been I've been following the latest arc, and wow, that might end soon. I'm not sure.
Huh.
Either because Horikoshi's got.
I guess I should catch up.
Horikoshi's kind of got an end game going on right now. It feels like. So we'll see. It's crazy stuff.
Do you want to tell the people what might be replacing the show?
Oh yeah, sure. So next Monday, probably around 6 p.m., 5 p.m. Haven't really decided on what time I'm gonna do it. While we don't have a show to talk about right now, I am going to be doing a series of playthroughs of the humongous entertainment library. And if you're not familiar with who they are, you're definitely familiar with their library. Putt Putt, Putt Putt enters the race. Putt Putt joins the circus. Spy Fox, Pajama Sam, Big Thinkers, Freddy
the
Fish.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be going through all of those with a drink in my hand. every Monday. It's going to be Mungus Mondays.
Mungus Monday!
Yes,
Mungus.
I love it specifically for the name. I've never played any of those games. I have no nostalgia for the properties whatsoever.
Yes.
But Mungus is such a name.
Yes. The moment you said Mungus, I was like, that's it. It's got to be Mungus. Mungus Mondays. Mungus.
Give me a Mungus.
I desperately want what's his face from fucking the guy who talks like this God, I can't remember his name.
Werner.
Yes.
Werner Herzog.
I want Werner Herzog. Hold on, I have to hear it.
Welcome to Mungus. I would like to see the baby.
Mungus Monday is coming next Monday. Until then, thank you all for joining us. You're fantastic as usual. And yeah, that was another episode of My Hero, you guys. Hey, are you guys gonna watch any of the other anime in the meantime? You gonna watch anything else?
No.
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 I mean, anime is the worst. What about you, Grant?
Maybe Haikyuu.
Dude, watch Haikyuu. Haikyuu's good.
Probably. Well, I'm gonna be watching. I've been watching Fruits Basket with a friend, so I'll be watching this season of that.
You've been watching Fruits Basket?
Yeah.
Did you?
Surprise.
You ever see the original?
Yes, we marathoned that before this started, just to give me a layer of appreciation for it.
That's fascinating.
It's one of those things that's like I kind of was watching more ironically at first, but now I know who all the characters are, and I'm like, okay, well, let's see. I've been told that the story actually gets pretty dramatic and goes places, and the anime might actually be doing that. So let's see where this goes.
I'm waiting personally until the whole thing comes out so I can then binge it, because I watched the original Fruits Basket anime. I loved it, and then I got real sad when I found out that there was more manga that hadn't been adapted, and now I don't want to start it until like the rest of it's finished, because I just know that I'm gonna get to a point and I'm gonna be foaming at the fucking mouth. So
it's that teen melodrama that I like, that I haven't had in anime form in a long time. So
it's sort of interesting because I know. What were you saying?
No, go for it. Go for it.
One of my friends, Bennett the Sage, watched it and said, the worst part about this is the whole Zodiac thing, and I'm like, I don't necessarily agree. But yeah, actually, it's very interesting to see all these kids with emotional problems try to like deal with that.
It's a nice framing device for it.
Yeah, and I dig on that. Oh, and by the way, everybody, thank you for everybody who watched my Beastars video today. And if you haven't seen it, there's a Beastars video up on the main channel. Please do watch it. It is me shit posting about Beastars for 7 minutes, and I love it. So, but yeah.
And I'll just say that people, if you aren't watching DuckTales, go watch Fuck.
Oh,
that's what I'll be watching.
Dude,
Only DuckTales.
Yeah, they premiered it was a double premiere, episodes 1 and 2 of the latest season. I cannot believe that Violet's got 2 dads. I freaked out. I won't lie.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it is Plus, and you haven't watched DuckTales, 2 seasons are completely on there.
Yep, first 2 seasons of DuckTales, the latest 2017 series. The first 2 seasons are on Disney Plus. Go watch it there.
It's so good.
So fucking good. All right, and then that's it. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you around.
Bye.
Bye.